Good evening. It's 8 o'clock. I'm Sally Baudet, live from Johannesburg. Your top stories tonight. Johannesburg mourns the 3 firemen who died trying to control the blaze in a downtown government building. Amid the tears, calls for action against those responsible for the unsafe building.
Is Parliament captured? Is the executive captured? So where is the state capture?
Jacob Zuma addresses students in Mthatha, slamming the state capture inquiry, but not commenting about that meeting in Durban last week. The people of Bishop Lavis march against the crimes tearing their communities apart. Police respond with stun grenades. Of course, it was a day of great sadness for Johannesburg today, but also one of anger, as the 3 firefighters who died last week were honoured. Simphiwe Marupana, Umduduzi Ndlovu and Katutselo Muedi died while battling a blaze at the Bank of Lisbon building, which housed 3 government departments. Linda Kuhle-Xulu has the story.
The city of Johannesburg's fire department honouring 3 of its bravest. Simphiwe Marupane, Mduduzi Ndlovu and Katutselo Muedi have been hailed for their courage. The 3 firefighters were remembered at a memorial service in Johannesburg on Wednesday.
Their names will always live on with the people of South Africa, as they are the true hero of our country.
Emergency management services workers from around Gauteng gathered for the memorial service, as well as other public servants. As questions arise around the source of last week's fire at the Bank of Lisbon building in Johannesburg and the resulting loss of 3 lives, leaders have called for calm as they await the report from forensics. Firefighters and unions, however, did not hold back in expressing their version of what happened on that fatal day.
Mina ngabona umlilo wawubehave nganyendlela. Kepha lami igama lithi ukubelela bhilidi lalicomply lo amlilo wangekubehave ngaleya ndlela.
Sasinga expectanga ukuthi ibhilidi kahulumeni ngayilona ibhilidi elingacomply. Libulala abafowethu ngalendlela elababulala ngalo ngoba lela bhilidi ibhilidi la hulumeni lila uhulumeni uyena obulala abafowethu lapha yana.
We are going to sue you even though we know that is not going to return their lives. But we believe that you have to learn your lessons again.
Johannesburg's Mayor Herman Mashaba says stricter measures will be effected in and around the city to ensure that no more lives are lost.
We are taking every step to limit the possibility of such a disaster occurring again. Myself, working with the city manager and our new administration, we are working around the clock to acquire 25 new fire engines for the city of Johannesburg.
The families will now focus on the funeral arrangements. At the same time, firefighters and unions say they will allow their fallen colleagues to be buried with dignity. They'll only start looking for answers from next week. Linda Kuhle-Xulu, Elix Park Arena in Johannesburg.
The ANC Veterans League wants former President Jacob Zuma to explain his meeting in Durban last week with high-profile ANC members. The Sunday Times reported that ANC Secretary-General Ace Magashule and other senior party officials met with Zuma to plot President Cyril Ramaphosa's ousting. Well, yesterday, Magashule admitted to the meeting but insists there's no plot.
We as Veterans League were very shocked. We don't think that that should have happened. That anybody in his good senses will think of ousting the president of the ANC, because he was elected unanimously, of course, with narrow margins in December. And it's not possible that he can be ousted. Secondly, I think as a Veterans League, we're happy that the Secretary General of the ANC admitted that he did meet with the president, the former president of the ANC, and but he refused to divulge the content of the meeting, and we're happy that he said he reported the whole thing to the top 6 of the ANC, and so it will be up to the top 6 then to inform the NEC what was this meeting all about. And I don't think it could have been about the plot. I don't think so, because it's unimaginable that people can think of doing that.
That, of course, was Snooki Zikalala, who speaks for the ANC's Veterans League. Now, former President Jacob Zuma was out and about today addressing students at Walter Sisulu University in Umtata. He spoke about free education and challenged students to think about what democracy and freedom really mean. One thing he didn't talk about, though, was that meeting with Ace Magashule last week. Instead, he slammed the term state capture and the inquiry set up to probe it. Now, of course, this is an inquiry he established while still president.
What is this thing called state capture? State capture. Does it mean these 3 arms have been captured? Huh? Is it true? Huh? Just explain the truth about it. Huh? Is it true? We have a commission that is sitting, investigating the state capture. Is the state captured? Huh? My view, and I'm not disagreeing with anyone, these are political decorated expressions. Absolutely. There's no state that is captured. Even when people try to describe it, worse when they give evidence. There are some people who are doing things with other individuals. Not a single one of the 3 is captured. Judiciary is not captured. Is it captured? Is Parliament captured? Is the executive captured? So where is the state capture?
Former President Jacob Zuma speaking today in Umtata. Let's move now to Cape Town. And Bishop Lavis residents shut down parts of the suburb today to protest against the gangsterism that's tearing their community apart. But police, instead of supporting the march, ended up dispersing it using stun grenades. Atim Tongana has that story.
Bishop Lavis residents at loggerheads with police. They say they've had enough of the violence.
My child can't play in the road because of gangsterism. There's kidnapping and all that. Now the police want to do this to us. We only want to shut down this road. The community is standing together. We are peacefully. We didn't throw stones. We didn't swear them. They started this thing first.
The 2017-2018 crime statistics reveal that an average of 57 people are killed in the country on a daily basis. And the Western Cape is the leading province in gang-related murders.
It's quite clear that we don't have sufficient cops nor sufficient detectives. But when you look at rich areas, predominantly rich areas like, say, Bishop's Court or Pinelands, there is a huge amount of police and detectives that are assigned to those stations compared to our stations.
Just this past weekend, a man was shot and killed and another injured close to this area. Residents are adamant it's linked to the alleged gang war currently raging in the community.
So the war is going on there since last week already, and as you see, we have enough police. If they can use these resources effectively, then we can stop all the gang violence in this province. But they are not there for our communities when we need them.
Police deny they're dropping the ball.
No, that's totally untrue. We do have Operation Thunder working in our area since the 11th of May. That the minister have made sure that we have that operation here, and so far they are very successful. You know, every week we recover firearms, we arrest from the gangs in the area, as well as confiscating drugs.
An entire Cape Flats shutdown is on the cards in the next few weeks. These residents from Bishop Lavis are planning to mobilize other communities plagued by gang violence and other general serious crimes. Atim Tongana, Cape Town.
We have international news just ahead. More than 1 million people evacuate their homes in southeastern parts of the United States as Hurricane Florence approaches. And all your money news with Mateo.
Well, the JSE's main board is still down, but the rand is now below the 15 rand mark against the dollar.
Let's talk money now with Mateo Kharipa. You've got news on retail sales. Are they up? Are they down? Are they in between? Where are we at?
Well, we can call them in between, but because we're focusing on the third quarter, it's actually a good number because we saw it manufacturing yesterday. It went up yesterday. Retail sales on a month-on-month basis going up to 1.3%. Why that's good? Well, the more consumers spend, the more the economy then moves. The exchange of money is more in the economy, and we're seeing that consumers are easing from that pressure that we're in the second quarter, because we do know that retail sales went down in the second quarter. Now we're going into the third quarter, and a lot of people are talking about South Africa's GDP growth. And the first two key numbers in manufacturing and retail sales speaking to that growth. We know the trade sector, gives about 15% to the GDP number, and it's really good. On a year-on-year basis, we see a slowdown there at 1.8% last year around this time, but this time around at 1.3%. And, Laura Campbell, an economist, are speaking to that to say what will happen for the rest of the year.
What we can expect over the remainder of the year is a low positive growth in consumer spending. The depreciation of the rand is raising the cost of imported goods, and that's weighing down, then it's leading to increased inflation in the retail sector.
And how the market's doing today?
It was another weak day for the All Share in terms of the market today. The All Share was down by 0.40%. Industrials also down by more than 0.5%. And still that trade war between Russia, China and the US. Financials also not following the rand. They're also down in terms of those banking shares. Gold was up today in terms of the mining shares, and platinum also up more than 0.5%, and this was because the commodity prices were also upticking on the day. The Turkish lira is also getting spurred on now, and there was good retail sales data that came out today, and that saw the rand at 14.93 now, getting away from that 15 rand mark. It's at 17 rand 93 against the euro, but still weak at 19.50 against the pound. In commodity prices, gold is at $1,205 an ounce, and platinum up more than close to 1% rather, with Brent crude still high there at $79.77 a barrel.
And of course, we're watching that crude oil price because that could influence how high our fuel goes up in October.
Definitely. Okay. It's good that the rand is strong though.
Okay, great. Okay, ending on a positive. Thank you very much, Mateo Kharipa. Let's look at other news now. And on this day, 41 years ago, Black consciousness leader Steve Bantu Biko was killed. Now today, ZAPU members marched to the very cell where Biko met his death in 1977. He was honoured with a wreath-laying ceremony today. Now the occasion was filled with poetry, very fitting for a man whose words have inspired and transcended generations. He died just at the age of 31 years. International news now. And beach communities in North and South Carolina emptied out today. Views from the International Space Station show that Hurricane Florence is only hours away. Now, the storm is expected to cause potentially deadly flooding in the southeastern states of the United States. You can see those visuals there looking really quite intense. Millions of people are being urged to evacuate from the southeastern states. Still ahead on eNews, we're going to go to Joel at our weather centre. He's practicing there, I think. And then in Havana are singing not for their supper, but for a sail. Time to get all your weather news from Cape Town, and Joel Guy is standing by. Good evening.
Welcome to the Weather Center, everyone. So we have a cold front that is weakening, but it has brought in a little bit of rain into the southwest coastline, which should persist as we get into Thursday morning. Now, talking of Thursday morning, the day will start off with a few fog patches over the interior of the Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal, and we will also see quite a lot of cloud and fog patches as well for the western areas of the Northern Cape. Then in the afternoon, we are expecting cloud-free skies once again across much of South Africa, and it will continue to feel more like summer over the eastern areas, particularly across the Limpopo province, where it's going to be sizzling hot in most areas, pretty hot as well for the Mpumalanga Lowveld areas. Then in the evening, we are going to see quite a bit of cloud creeping into parts of the Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal and southeastern Mpumalanga, and we are going to be watching this cold front that will be heading towards our shores. In the meantime, here's how your Thursday is going to look like for your part of the country. It's going to be mostly sunny and pleasantly warm for the eastern areas of the Northern Cape. The day starts off mostly cloud over the western areas, becoming mostly sunny and mild to cool in the afternoon. Partly cloudy skies are forecast for much of the Western Cape. Light rain for the first half of the day over the western areas, where Cape Town and Hermanus should peak at around 18 degrees. We are going to see sunny skies across much of the Eastern Cape, where top temperatures in the lower to mid-20s are expected. KwaZulu-Natal should also be pretty sunny for much of the interior. Partly cloud in the afternoon, however, for Durban and Richards Bay, both peaking at 24 degrees. It's going to be sizzling hot for Mbombela and Skukuza, with clear skies forecast across the Mpumalanga province. A sunny one is also forecast across Limpopo, hot for the eastern and northern sections. Temperatures around 35 degrees for Tzaneen, Musina, as well as Lephalale. The northwest should also be cloud-free, with highs in the upper 20s and lower 30s for most areas. We're also going to see sunny skies across the Free State. It's going to be cool to mild for the province, but warm for Velkom, peaking at around 25 degrees. Gauteng will stay sunny and warm, with Pretoria hitting the 30-degree mark on Thursday afternoon. Now, looking ahead to your Friday, it's going to be mostly sunny for eastern South Africa, partly cloudy for the western areas, with rainy weather forecast in Cape Town. We start the weekend with partly cloudy skies for much of the country, light rain for parts of KwaZulu-Natal. It will be sizzling hot over the northeast, Pretoria peaking at 34 degrees. That's all from the Weather Center for now. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much. That's Jogai in Cape Town. And finally, street sellers in Cuba are reinventing old traditions to cope with tough economic times. The pregón is making a comeback. It's a traditional practice of advertising what you're selling through song. Let's take a listen.
The sound of changing times. In Havana, Cuba, street vendors are returning to the art of singing, this to increase their market.
For me, the pregón means joy. It means not getting stressed out. It means liberation from work.
The centuries-old tradition almost disappeared after Fidel Castro's 1959 revolution did away with most free enterprise. But the pregón is now making a comeback. Government is lifting restrictions, and Cubans can get a permit to sell their goods on the streets. Many say they prefer this to the costly exercise of opening a shop. And whether it's peanuts, cleaning materials, or bags of wheat, these vendors say they will sing for as long as it takes to make a sale.
Well, we've got some breaking news that's just come to us this evening. Very sad news. KwaZulu-Natal police have now confirmed that the decomposed body found in Phoenix last week is indeed that of Miguel Lowe. The 9-year-old Sydenham schoolboy went missing a few weeks ago. DNA tests had to be conducted on his body, which was found in a field. Before we go, let's just recap our top story for you. Johannesburg mourns the fireman who died trying to control the blaze in a downtown government building. Amid the tears, calls for action against those responsible for the unsafe building. And that's your news. Take care from me and the team. Good night.